No one knows the first rock to fall in an avalanche. David never thought of himself as a leader, and his journey to leadership is as winding as a sediment-clogged stream. Growing up, he observed leadership styles of parents, grandparents, teachers, mostly positive. Taking an uncharacteristic leap of faith, at 21, he found himself joining a multi-week geology field excursion to Wyoming and Montana. Students and faculty came from 5 different colleges and universities in Ohio and the Carolinas. He knew none of the faculty leaders, nor his tent mate Brett. In retrospect, David learned much about leading a field-based experience, but perhaps the most important lesson came from Brett. At a particularly beautiful vista, Brett and David put away all pretext of observing the geology and paused to take in the beauty of the landscape under the late afternoon sun. Brett said God had fun when he made this. It was in that moment that David learned that field experiences engage the mind, body, and soul, and that leaders should provide space and opportunity for students to process both the academic content and the emotional reactions.
Starting to see some historic signatures from early.
There is no one left at NKU who remembers, but the original seed of a variety of orientation and first-year advising practices started under David's leadership while an advisor in the Academic Advising Resource Center, or better known as ARC, the precursor to NKU's first-year Student Success Hub today. VictorFest, NKU's additional orientation just prior to the start of the semester, focusing on student success and orientation to the student's college, had its start as Jumpstart with ARC, run by David. Utilizing peer coaches and advisors for early semester check-in appointments during the crucial first few weeks of the first semester of college, that practice started with ARC's initial appointments program, spearheaded by David. And special programming and tracking for NKU's academically at-risk students, known now as the Pathfinders program. Yep, David started that while he worked at ARC too. In fact, years later, David was offered the associate director's job to oversee Pathfinders, but he turned it down because he wanted to keep moving forward and not look backwards. And in the meantime, an old interest became a career interest.
We do have some of the great white triangular shark teeth, but most of the shark teeth in Mammoth Cave rocks are grinding teeth.
David's wife, Kathleen, his father-in-law, Kevin, but especially his mother-in-law, Jane, were instrumental in sharing with David the power of place and the use of nature and parks to learn about both nature and history with hands-on experience. Eventually, this encouragement changed the trajectory of David's career. Jane's love of learning in and from the outdoors was something she shared with David as often as possible until shortly before her death on December 26, 2023.
Know for sure where that's related to each other and to the surface. And so modern cave mapping, when possible, now there's parts of Mammoth Cave that are
First in University 101 and later in honors classes, David began leading field trips of increasing length and complexity. Now, he's the leader of week-long field programs for students from across the country meeting for the first time at the beginning of these learning adventures. Along the way, he met and began working with the amazing and generous staff at Mammoth Cave National Park. There is no better way to learn a master's degree amount of information than spending the equivalent of days and weeks in a cave with Dr. Rick Toomey, the park's research coordinator. This week, David celebrated his 28th anniversary at NKU. He's had 9 different leaders during this time. Some have been good and some have been bad, but David has learned something about leadership from each of them. It is his current supervisor, Dr. Jen Celio, however, who demonstrates every day the power of collaborative and supportive team leadership and provides a model of program leadership to which David can aspire.
Just in the evenings, preparing a meal together, sitting down at a big table, communicating, talking, laughing, and then after eating Dave Kime's popcorn and watching a film, and just that sort of community and fellowship has been wonderful.
Hi, I'm Zane Isom. I am a recent graduate of NKU, and I took David Kime's class in my sophomore year of college. I had so much fun, and we actually took like a weekend or a week trip here in the summer, and it was honestly one of the best experiences I had in college. I love Professor Kime's class, and I had so much fun in that class. I met some of my best friends in college there. David is such a great leader. He is someone that I really respect and admire. I really enjoyed that class, and I actually got to be like his assistant director for that class. When we were going through the caves, I got to help him be a leader and teach us all sorts of things about the cave and about. I'm not a big science person. I graduated with a degree in film, so that was something a little bit out of my comfort zone, but he made me feel very comfortable. He was very patient with all of his students, very charismatic, and I think that he's so good at making people feel comfortable in uncomfortable situations, especially like being in a cave and doing something that's out of all of our comfort zones. So I just really appreciate him, and I think that his leadership skills have kind of carried on to my life too outside of college, and I feel more confident doing things and being a leader in all aspects of my life as well. So.
No one knows the first rock to fall in an avalanche. But that rock has the power to move mountains.
Follow me.